As you all know by now, I am the king of the tier list. Editor Daniel, please place the crown upon my head for the duration of this next clip. As you can see, I am the king of the tier list. Everyone else who makes tier lists based on musical theatre content on YouTube must bow before me because I am the king. However, I have only done small things. I've done Star Kid shows, I've done set designs, playbills. No. Now it's time to take up the big gun. Go into the big league. It's time for the ultimate musicals tier list. No remorse will be shown. There will be no benefit of the doubt given here. This is do or die. No mercy. It is time to put these musicals on a tier list. Now, of course, this will not be every single musical. That would be like a 5-hour video. However, today I will make a solid dent in this because I am, again, the what? The king of musical theatre tier lists. And if you want more tier lists and more high tier musical content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Do it. Because I am the king. And you wouldn't disobey your king, would you? But remember, despite me being the king of the tier lists, just because my opinion doesn't match to your opinion doesn't mean that it's not valid. We all have valid different opinions. And if I like something that you don't like, or if you like something that I don't like, that is perfectly fine. Because we all know on this channel that theatre is what? And say it with me at home. Subjective! Onto the video. Beetlejuice. I have spoken in length about Mr. Juice on my channel. It is well known that I am a fan of Beetlejuice. Like, it is pretty well known. Is it the greatest musical of all time, in my opinion? Will it crack the S tier? Now, I don't think it will. Now, don't get me wrong, it's an amazing musical, and I would see it any day of the week. But I think there is a difference between, like, a high tier musical and, like, S tier. S tier is like the masterpiece. S tier is like the musical that you go see it and your entire life has changed. You suddenly want to become a better person. Maybe that is so for Beetlejuice, for someone, but not necessarily for me. The question is it A or is it B? Because I think if it's B, it's a very high B, and I think if it's A, I think it's a very low A. The script is a really nice adaptation, and oh my god, it's nice to have a screen-to-stage adaptation that isn't just a complete retelling of the original film. It really takes those risks. And I think because of that, and because of how much respect I have for the overall piece, I will place it into A tier. School of Rock is one that I liked School of Rock when I first heard it, when it first came out when I was younger. I'm a big fan of the Jack Black film. I think it's good, but once re-listening to it now and looking at it, it's trying to be Matilda, but it's not as smart as Matilda. Now, of course, theatre is subjective, and of course, I'm not really the demographic anymore for School of Rock. That being said, I don't think it's the worst musical of all time. I don't think it's necessarily offensive or vile in that way. I think I'd probably place it, for myself, of course, around C or D, probably D. I think my attachment to the original film does bring it down, just because I don't think it's as good. Little shop of horrors, I have a lot of nostalgia for Little shop of horrors. It was the first show I ever performed. It was the first show I ever did properly with a stage group. Therefore, it means a lot to me. And it's just campy. It's just fun. And sometimes that's what you want in a musical. I had solid B tier. Solid B tier. I love Little Shop of Horrors. Catch Me If You Can is an interesting one, because I love the show. But then again, I oftentimes forget about the show. I think it has a lot going for it. Aaron Tveit amazing. Songs like Fly, Fly, Fly Away, Life in Living Colour, Jet Set. These songs are amazing. And they're really jazzy, and I love a jazz musical. We need more jazz musicals. But if you laid out a whole bunch of musical soundtracks for me, and you said pick one, I think I wouldn't pick Catch Me If You Can that quickly. Does that make it a bad show? No, it's just not the greatest show for me. I'd say I enjoyed it and it had some standout moments, which I think places it quite safely into C tier. 9 to 5 is a musical that grew on me quite a lot. I can't knock it too much. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I don't think it's revolutionary. I think it's a nice musical that you can go out for if you've got a bachelorette party or if you just want a fun night singing Dolly Parton. It has a fun feminist message, despite that message being kidnap your boss, but I guess he did deserve it. I say high D tier. High D tier, I think that's fair. Rent. If you had asked me a year ago, do I like Rent? I would have said no. But then the absolutely beautiful production came out, which was the Hope Mill Theatre production. I think I understand Rent more. I kind of get that angst now, and I kind of see why it's so good. Again, not necessarily my favourite musical of all time, but definitely ranks high. A or a B tier. I think just because I don't have as much personal attachment to it as something like Beetlejuice, I'll probably put it as a high B. Okay, no, screw it. Rent's an A. Rent's an A. I'll let Rent be an A. Remember, it's just my opinion. I don't like Wicked. Wicked is kind of like Lion King in the fact that I think its production design is absolutely incredible, but unlike Lion King, I don't really like anything else about Wicked. Honestly, if you look at this musical, it is the musical equivalent of Monsters University. It does have some good music because it does have a good composer, and I can understand why people like Wicked because, again, maybe people have more of a personal attachment to Wizard of Oz, and again, it's not really for me. It's for families mostly, but also it's for people who like that film. The doorbell is going off. I think the production design saves it from F tier. So I think I put it in E. But, again, theatre is what? Subjective. So you don't have to agree with me. Look, there's so many musicals that I need to get to. So it's time for a little bit of a speed run. Producers, I think it's fun. I think it's funny. Mel Brooks is amazing. And this film is meant to be on stage. Let's be real. This is such a theatrical show that it really does work on stage. I don't have as much personal attachment to it as I do some of these other shows, so I'll probably put it in B tier. Rocky Horror Show is just insane. I don't understand it, but I love it. But it's weird. I don't get it, but I love it. I think the guy who wrote it is just so weird and quirky, and I think it works for what it is. Would I say it's the greatest thing ever? No. C tier. Prom. I've talked a lot about the Prom film recently. The Prom musical, I love it so much. It's cheesy. It's camp. It's so accepting. It's got a good message. I love it. As musical comedies go, I think it's one of the better ones if you look over a lot of the flaws in the actual storytelling. I think it's B tier because of my personal attachment to it. Could be higher. Taking a quick break from the onslaught, Mean Girls. I spoke about Mean Girls in this video where my hair is so short. Oh my god, my hair is so short. What? And if you want my full thoughts on Mean Girls, I've talked about it so many times on this channel. Just watch that video if you can manage the weird quality of it. I don't really like Mean Girls. I really don't. Because I feel like there was so much potential with it, and it just failed to live up to it. Mean Girls isn't a film that screams out for a musical, so it needed a lot more time to prove why it needed to be on stage, and it didn't prove why it needed to be on stage. However, there are a lot of people who love Mean Girls, and that's fair. That is fine. But it's another musical that I don't really get. I don't really get why people like it. So again, if you are a fan of Mean Girls, do let me know why you like it in the comments down below. But for me, I think Mean Girls is one of my very rare F tiers.
I changed my mind, it's E tier. I should keep F tier for the real unwatchable things.
let's go on to something more positive. Come From Away, the best musical of all time, and so far, my only S tier. This is the most beautiful musical I have ever seen. It is a story of love and acceptance and just being there for someone in their time of need. It doesn't even give you a second to breathe. It's just bombarding you with so much good stuff, real stories that feel so emotional and hard-hitting and life-fulfilling, and it just changes you. When I see Come From Away, every time I go and see it, I want to be a better person. I want to try and help people. I want to open up my heart and open up my doors to anyone who needs me. That is what good art can do. I'm going to stop going on about Come From Away because otherwise I will make this entire video. Why does Dan love Come From Away? I just love it. 6 is another one that I'm struggling. I don't know, because I think it deserves an S tier. 6 as a story works so well. You have these people who are already quite well known and you're twisting their story so that you're telling it from their perspective. And I think what's so life-fulfilling about it is the twist at the end. Like, the whole thing that the show is leading up to, that's the moment where it clicks and 6 becomes the S tier. Let me just do Hamilton and In the Heights in kind of a double bill. Hamilton is absolutely amazing. I think Hamilton is fantastic. I think it's such a well-crafted show. And Lin-Manuel Miranda is just such a fantastic lyricist. If you look at the rhyme scheme of Hamilton, you see how clever he is. But just the little bits of inner rhyme and the throwback and how that flows is in every single song throughout the entire show. It is really, really good. I think it is a solid A tier. And it is a solid A tier because I think the S tier musical that he wrote is In the Heights. In the Heights is that kind of life-fulfilling show. It's another one that you go and see it and you're raring to go. You're raring to push yourself up and, you know, make a legacy for yourself. Honestly, it's very funny how both of Lin-Manuel Miranda's big musicals are about a legacy. That's the S tier. That is the S tier, and I'm very excited for the film. Amelie. The American one specifically goes into about like D tier. It's not that great. You know, you're just watching it and you're thinking this could be so much better. And I was correct because UK Amelie is like S tier above S tiers. I love UK Amelie and I don't care what anyone says. I love UK Amelie. The way they use puppets, the way that it feels so French, the way that it's so quirky and doesn't really go by like a typical musical structure. It's so very much its own thing and I love it for that. I love it so much. Please bring UK Amelie back. It's all I ask for. It's all I've ever wanted. Dear Evan Hansen, I love Dear Evan Hansen. I think it's a hard one because I think it deserves that S tier, but I don't know what's holding me back from it. I'm so emotional at Dear Evan Hansen. I think just the way that they've cast this story is really good. Evan is this great protagonist who is flawed and you know what he's doing is wrong and he knows what he's doing is wrong. Oh, why are you walking in mid... Oh. Okay, close that door. Okay, I have ice cream now. Just don't question it. Don't question it. It's a McFlurry, but other ice creams are available. It's really life-affirming. It does have its funny moments. I feel like I can give it S tier. I don't have too many S tiers. Will that change? Honestly, I'm even thinking of moving it down to an A tier right now, so it probably could change. But yeah. So, that's my tier list for today. These are all the different ones that I've put on the tier list, including some Patreon exclusive ones that go close to my Patreon. I mean, let me know your tier list in the comments down below. Because will your tier list be different? Absolutely. Because we all have different opinions. Theatre is what? Subjective. And that's what makes theatre so good. That's what makes theatre so good. Theatre is so good because we all have different opinions. We all have different things that we like. And that's why there's such a different variety on Broadway. We don't all have to share the same opinions. I am tired. I worked a long shift this morning. I could tell you to subscribe and tell you all the amazing things I do, but it's on screen right now, so why should I have to? I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to eat my ice cream really nicely and wait for you to subscribe. So subscribe.